Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan.
YouTube has opened up a feature that many of us have been waiting for a long time. This feature will help you improve your bottom line and what's possible. We're going to talk all about it with some basic practices. Stay tuned.
Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan.
All right, guys, so we are doing this first format here with Zach Sparazzo and myself, talking about some new features that YouTube has launched and getting into the nitty-gritty of how you could increase your revenue, the bottom line. I think a lot of folks start out on this platform and they want to figure out ways to earn money. But that could be difficult when your channel's not monetized, when you don't have a big audience. But what they opened up with the Shopify integration, I think, is going to position many of us to take advantage of one of the biggest revenue streams, one of the easiest revenue streams, one of the highest margin revenue streams, one of the best revenue streams to build connection and repeat customers, which is merchandising. Now, before I get too deep into merchandising, I want to make sure that we do have a free Master My Niche training in the link of this description.
It'll change your life.
Change your life, take you through the basics of discovering your niche. And then we have a paid for Master YouTube live course. And one of the emphasis in it is a course inside of a course called Master My Merch. And it's all about merchandising. Why? Because merchandising is one of the best ways to monetize earlier on. And a couple best practices that I would use, and you could chime in when you want to, Zach. I think foundationally, the ability to have best practices and proof of concept with how you make your merch and what is your merch in terms of, is it proven and is there demand for it? Zach, what do you think in terms of best practices for merchandising before we get into this integration side?
Best practices, like you said, I think the proof of concept, it'll also help you stay out of debt with your merch. A lot of people have crazy ideas, and sometimes they're just not really what people are looking for to actually buy. Best practices, I think start small and make sure you can sell out. Don't buy too much inventory, stuff like that.
Yeah. And so what we're talking about is as you're building, you're going to get to a place where you could do merch. And Shopify is the best place for merch. One of the biggest mistakes I made with merch was waiting too long to get on Shopify. I brought everything over at the end of 2020, I think, for our store to Shopify. It seamlessly integrates with Facebook, seamlessly integrates with the backend interfaces of different plugins, and now seamlessly integrates with YouTube. So we're gonna be looking at a video, and then I'm gonna give you guys some more best practices in terms of how to approach the marketing, the merchandising side of YouTube and Shopify. So let's check this out. This is directly from YouTube's Creator Insider channel. And we're going to play a little bit of this and give you guys kind of some of the breakdowns of what's happening and why it's important. Go ahead.
Yeah, and here they're going over the top benefits of once they change, you get the YouTube integration, what are the top benefits for your store, for your revenue, and all that stuff.
Yep.
There are a whole host of benefits to connecting your store with YouTube. First is visibility. You can now feature products directly beneath your content, in end screens, and other places across YouTube. Products also sync automatically. So if something goes out of stock on your Shopify store, it's automatically updated on YouTube. So you don't have to worry about disappointing your viewers with out of stock messages. You also get access to additional shopping features such as live shopping. And lastly is on-site checkout. Viewers can seamlessly discover and buy your products without ever leaving YouTube. This feature is currently only available for creators and viewers in the US, but we'll keep you posted as this expands to more countries. Now let's talk about a few of the best practices when it comes to selling on YouTube.
So that right there, I mean, the checkout, was he saying checkout from YouTube?
Right inside of YouTube.
Right inside of YouTube. I know for us, getting people over to the next platform, whatever that may be, is always the hardest part. Getting people off the site. So we plug our merch all the time from the YouTube channel, but the sales don't necessarily roll in as much as you would expect. So having that access front page, to me, I think I'm expecting some of the kind of the biggest change revenue-wise, weekly, daily sales.
Yeah. Yeah. And tying it into each video, potentially new piece of drops. Let's show them how it looks on our channel right now. And we discovered in preparation for this video that you do have to have every single video manually opt in for the specific thing. So we're gonna show you guys. You're on the wrong
Justin
channel.
has a cool question.
You got to go to the other YouTube channel. As we show you guys this, we discovered that you got to manually opt in what you are doing. It's almost kind of like how tagging works on Instagram. So first of all, let's show them before you go too far. Hold on, back up. Before you go too far, show them the main channel and where it appears.
Yep, here is the main channel. If we go to, do we have shopping on here?
It should be. We just had it a second ago.
We had it on the app. I don't know if we saw
That's
it
weird.
on here.
It's not on there. Pull the screen out further, like expand,
expand the screen.
browser. No, it's not on there. Okay, so it's on the. That's so weird. It's on the app, but it's not on the browser. So that's interesting.
Yet. We'll see. Hopefully those are going to be updated.
Is it on home maybe?
Let's see. Home.
Scroll all the way down.
Members.
Scroll all the way down.
Music,
All the way down.
shorts.
Nope. Okay, so go to our latest video, and let's just show them how it looks. So this is yesterday's video, and you see a little
Ooh.
view. You can't see that. Scoosh that over. You can't see that. If you guys see,
See this view products right here.
Yep. And then
We can even zoom in.
Oh.
Look at that.
and then scroll down.
And then if I scroll down here, we have the products showcased by Ruslan KD. So when someone's watching, they're going to see the hoodie you're wearing. They're going to see the other things you have on the site. And again, it only shows the things that you have in stock. So I think these are some of our most...
you got to manually pick those things for each
Gotcha.
video. It's not automated. You got to literally go in and for every video add which specific piece you want. So like this is a piece that's not out yet, and I could maybe put something that looks similar, but you manually are picking every single piece for each video. Now let's walk them through what happens if you click on it.
Yeah, and similar to how you would do end cards.
Yeah. And so this takes you
This
over.
takes me straight to the store.
Takes
Let's
to the
see
store.
if there's a way I can buy out. I mean, that's still not bad. I like that it takes you automatically there and that at least presents the product. But let's see if they do have a checkout in person. Nope.
Not yet. So apparently that's a new feature they're going to be rolling out. Now, why is this significant? This is significant because historically YouTube has only used Teespring. And if you guys know anything about Teespring is cheeks.
It's trash.
Teespring is awful. It's a really, really bad interface. Not interface, quality. We've tried Teespring and the quality is not good. And so you've been handicapped. YouTubers have been handicapped by primarily using Teespring. Now, if you're building your Shopify on the side, I believe this integration happens either at 1,000 or 10,000 subscribers. But if you're building your Shopify on the side, you can eventually jump into having it seamlessly sync and sell merchandise directly that you control, not Teespring's controls. And so how I look at merchandise is foundationally, you want to start with a proof of concept, right? And this is something that you start ground level, you get the Cricut Air, you get ways to make multiple pieces, you wear it around, you wear it in your videos, you test stuff out. And then once you get enough engagement, then you drop the piece on a potential opportunity to do a pre-order or a sell. So you don't just like put stuff out. Because here's the deal. A lot of you guys have bad taste. Okay? A lot of you guys think stuff is cool that's not cool. A lot of you guys are putting out stuff that people don't have a demand for. You're not really listening to your consumer. And the consumers who should be driving what and how we're monetizing, not what we think is cool. It's what people want from us. And so if you have a great saying you say, if you have a great little hashtag or line or something that always comes around, take that and see if people are saying that to you. One of the things that people always tell us is like, oh, we really like when you do the that's goofy drop, right?
That's goofy.
And so that's one of those things that like we've experimented and we did like test merch with that idea. So first you have to figure out what the proof of concept is, meaning do people want it? Wear it in a couple of videos, wear it around town, and you have to figure out how to make that first, right? And so we recommend a Cricut Air printer and like $100, it's like a $200 Cricut Air printer, $100 heat press. And then once you move along the scale, then you start going to a local silk screening spot, a local embroidery spot. You don't make it all by hand yourself. Shout out to, I don't know if I ever told you this, Zach, but there was a time where Nick D was manually making all of his merch through the Cricut Air printer by hand. His wife was
my
peeling
goodness.
all the vinyls.
Which, if you're not familiar with the Cricut Air printer, that is, it prints out the vinyl, and then you have to take like a little pick and pick off every sticker off of the big laminate. and then you can heat press it. So every individual hit, he was
struggle
bussing
by hand. And I was like, dude, you gotta do something else. And so I think that's when they went over to having someone fulfill stuff, make stuff locally for them, silk screening, embroidery. And that's kind of where we're at now. And then what you do is once you're making it locally, then you just have a bunch of merch sitting around like we do for the next drop. And then once your demand is up, once you have a proven sales history, what you do then is you partner with a fulfillment center. Okay, so first you start out making it by hand, testing it, seeing if it works, seeing if people want it, seeing if there's a demand for it. Then you move over and you slowly transition into finding a local printer, a local embroidery shop, having them make it, having them bag and tag it, the whole bit. And then you find a fulfillment center. So we are in the process of, once this run of new merch that we're going to drop and announce is out, we're moving everything over to Native Supply. Native Supply is KB's company. KB is going to be fulfilling all of our merch moving forward. We're hoping to have all that up by Black Friday.
by hand.
But
KB himself.
Yeah, KB
will be packing our stuff.
Yep.
He'll be sending it off with a kiss.
Yep,
So-
him and a bunch of little elves who are in Santa's Playhouse making
KB's Christian apparel Santa.
Bless God apparel. So KB's Native Supply Company, they're going to be doing it. They are going to be fulfilling it, making it, floating the initial investment of the blanks, and then that will allow us to scale because it takes us off of our plate. And that's where you want to get to. And KB's not the only one that does it. I think Grateful Apparel does it. I'm just referencing people in the Christian space. But you don't go to KB when you have a couple $100s in sales. You go to KB when you got a couple $1,000s in sales a month. Pull up our sales just so you guys kind of get an idea of what's possible. And this is last year.
This is last year.
This isn't even good. Okay, like this is not good. This may seem like a lot for you, but when you factor in the margins on this stuff and shipping and returns, it's not a crazy amount of money. But what it is it has the potential to scale as your audience scales. So this is what we did for last year.
Yep. And half of these sales, I would say almost more than half of these sales actually came in the last quarter when we tried a new model and we tried out new things. So we're going to be going back to some sort of like big launch model like that.
Yes,
so
correct.
Because it's very, very profitable and it does really well. So these are not great numbers, but the individual launch numbers we did, I even think if you see this graph, it actually shows what I just talked about.
Yeah, there's a big boom.
Boom. So it's like pretty steady, and then boom, big pop right there. But question for you. What?
Hold on, show them this year so you guys get a context of how this year is looking. And again, most of merch sales are going to happen in the fourth quarter. Okay, so this year we've just been kind of trickling along little by little. I don't even think we've cracked 20K this year.
Okay, year to date. There
Year
we
to
go.
date. Let's see. What is year to date?
We have done like 15,000.
That's what we've done this year in merch. And again, we haven't. Are we even in the third quarter yet? I don't even think we're in the third quarter yet.
I'm not super.
Fourth quarter is October, November, December. Yeah, so we're in September, October, August, September. So we're in the third quarter now. So we're rolling out some stuff. And so this can potentially, if we outsource it right, if we do the right promos, this could potentially turn into a six-figure revenue stream on its own. And that's the goal. We want to have this as a multi-six-figure revenue stream. Other creators in the space who do similar stuff are into the multiple six figures with similar size platforms. What was your question that you had, Zach?
My question for you is, for the small creator, what does proof of concept look like? So how much feedback do you get till you start selling? Is it like 1, 2? Is it a couple comments? Like, what are they looking for to say, okay, I think this is actually going to sell well. I'm getting enough feedback here.
That's a good question. I think foundationally, you make something that you like first. You wear it around town. And I don't know if there's a way to quantify how much feedback.
Yeah.
I think are you getting any requests at all?
Without asking, what do you think of my merch?
Right.
Come on. If you're unprompted, hey, I like your shirt, I like your hat, then that's probably a time that proof of concept is coming in, and then whatever it feels like enough of that feedback. If you're getting that more than 10 times, a handful of times, or whatever, then you're like, okay, cool. Because like when you do proof of concept in YouTube videos, you don't say, hey, here's a new piece we're testing out. What do you guys think? You just wear it. You wear it and you see if there's comments. Hey, is that available? And then that's usually when something does.
Yeah,
decent.
and a piece we just tried proof of concept on that didn't do very well. I just kind of finessed it into like a limited, there's only a dozen of these available. We had this Bless God embroidery in a French terry that was like a desert color. It was like a tannish, dark tan desert color.
Yeah.
And like nobody asked for it. Literally not a single person asked for it. Not a single person was like, oh, that's a cool color, right? When I wore this, the very first stream, I had multiple comments. Where do I buy that hoodie? Where do I buy that? Nobody asked for it. And this is like our nice premium item, a $100 hoodie. The blanks are super expensive. Not a single soul asked for it. And so I took it. And I said, okay, cool. Let me just give it to some friends. And it is a nice blank. So it's one of those things where like it's hard to tell what merchandise is. We don't cut corners on blank, so it is a nice blank. So I literally I had a dozen of them, and I gave my nephew one. I think I gave Ray Rock one. I gave Mario and Patrick David one, and I had a dozen of them, and I think I gave my niece one. And it's like, okay, cool. This is one of 12 pieces. And it's similar to our other stuff. The hoodie's the best hoodie you'll ever have. But and you just do something cool like that. And again, this is what a premium proof of concept, right? A premium proof of concept is you're doing at least a dozen pieces. You work it into a big order. For most of you guys, start at the ground floor, work your way up into eventually finding something that works for what your channel is about. Yep. And if you guys have issues with figuring out what your channel is about, I recommend you take our free Master My Niche or Your Niche course. The link is in the description. Check that out. It walks you through a worksheet, and it gives you just some basic brainstorming ideas of how to figure out what you're talking about. And so hopefully this is helpful to you guys. If it is, drop a like on the video. Make sure you are subscribed with the bell notification on, and we'll be back with more videos just like this.
Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan. Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan.
I think it's important for us to talk about the mind state around being a creator. The mind state of pressing into something even if you don't have a direct pathway. And that's what this video is going to be about. The necessity to create even when you aren't sure what the pathway and the outcome is going to be.
Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan.
So Jay-Z recently did a interview with Kevin Hart, and unfortunately Peacock, which is a very sus name for a YouTube channel streaming service,
Crazy.
Peacock pulled it from all over the internet. So I couldn't find the exact clip, but it's on, I'm assuming on their app, it's the premium version. Anyway, it was a very good interview, and there was this one part interview that really stood out to me that I wanted to just kind of unpack with you guys that I think most of us aren't really thinking about. A lot of people, you have two pathways in terms of how to build an online presence, a personal brand, an online ministry, whatever you want to call it. There's two pathways. Pathway number one is do something amazing, make a lot of money, and then build a business after you've done something amazing and built a lot of money. I was just on Ryan Panita's podcast that's going to be dropping pretty soon. And Ryan Panita is a good friend of mine. He's based in Vegas, and he built a business that he started flipping couches with, and then he flipped houses, and then he built like almost a dozen businesses, and he does $30 to $40 million in revenue, a couple $1 million a month. And he basically hired out a full team. They pay, I think what I heard him say at Growth Video Live was, I think he said he pays about $40,000 a month for his team. $40,000 a month. So they got a guy that follows him around with the camera all the time. It's kind of weird. I have forgot what that was like. And then there's a guy that does the podcast, and they got remote editors everywhere. They got a team that does his TikToks. So Ryan Panita is someone who built a business based on what other people want, based on what other people are needing, whether it's homes, whether it's accounting. He got so many different businesses, e-commerce, and then took the revenue from that and channeled it over into an actual media company. Okay?
40 grand is dropping a hat when you're doing $3 million a month between all your companies. So then that's kind of your point, is that like he's just got the revenue where he can, even if the channel is smaller, or he's trying to really grow it, or it's even if it's going through a season where it's not doing super well, he's got the finances to fund that whole entire situation.
100%. So this is the Gary Vee model. This is the Alex Hormozi model. This is a lot of people who are developing, personal brands are doing it on the back of an actual business that they've built. So that's option one. Okay. Now the reality is that I'm not really the option one guy. in case you didn't know. I'm naturally a creative. I'm naturally a problem solver, but I didn't build my business around solving a problem or selling something that people already want, right? I intentionally built what I want to do around things that I'm passionate about. Now, this is the road of most resistance, to be clear. And this is the road that is very difficult to figure out with regards to what are you going to do? How are you going to do it? But this is the road where I think innovation creates something that we haven't seen before. This is the road where you build stuff by necessity. You build stuff because there's no other options. You build stuff because, hey, I don't want to work a job anymore, or I can't work a job anymore. I keep going through jobs. I keep getting fired. And so I got to figure this thing out, and I got to do it by necessity. And that's what Jay-Z said, is that, granted, yes, Jay-Z's an interesting guy. Okay, he's not the guy that went from 0 to 1 legally. He went from 0 to 1 by selling drugs, okay? It is what it is. However, when he got to 1 and he was financially stable, he went from 1 to 10 by building his own record company when no one else wanted to work with him or do business with him, right? And so as we're entering this new era of YouTube, of music, of merchandising, of ministry, whatever it is that you're wanting to do, you have to consider, hey, if no one's going to give you a platform, because they're not, if you don't have the money to hire someone for $20,000 or $40,000 a month to follow you around, you have to think through what is the most optimal way to build an online presence so that you can build a business around your passion, okay? A business around your passion. This is a different approach. And this is where I think things like innovation, this is where I think things like thinking creatively, moving in a very agile manner, moving in a way that is thinking forward and not trying to do what people have already done, is going to come into play. And this is why we push Master YouTube Live. Because if you do the system of mastering YouTube Live, if you create the system of automation, of cameras to cut back and forth, where you don't have to think about edit. These videos don't get edited, by the way. Not sure if you knew that. We don't do a bunch of editing. Zach doesn't drop this in Final Cut Pro and chop it up and sauce it up. That's why we got the sound effects. Everything is pre-programmed. And so because I don't have access to resources, I have been forced to be innovative and to do way more with way less, and then strategically invest into another set, into a full-time team member, into a remote editor, because I have to do way more with way less, but it keeps me and it keeps us agile. It keeps us on the cutting edge of what's happening and beyond. And it keeps opportunities coming in from people that are like, wait a minute, like non-Christians, people that don't agree with our worldview, they'll be like, yo, you guys are doing something really cool. Where'd you get this idea? How'd you come up with this? How'd you come up with that? And so I want you guys to be thinking about this, is if you're serious about this thing, you have to approach it like a business. You have to approach it like it is a business that you're starting up around your passion, and create some sort of investment into yourself, whether it's building a studio, taking one camera, building out the corner of your room, buying a nicer microphone, getting the lighting, set everything up once, make it so you don't have to reset it up, stream live, get your ideas out, chop it down using the YouTube editor, and then move on to the next video. And if you can commit to publishing, that's going to tip the scales in your favor to get as many videos out, to get as much stuff out. And again, we're moving out of necessity. We're forced to innovate. We don't have it all handed to us. A lot of you guys, you don't have $20,000, $40,000 a month. Some of you guys do. God bless you, okay? But I think this idea of leaning into live streaming, batch shooting content through live streaming, just like we're doing in real time, we just had another video before this, I think is going to be the best path forward. And I don't see enough people utilizing live, chopping the videos down into shorter videos, taking those videos and chopping those down into shorts and TikToks and Instagram Reels, and leaning into the technology that's available. You don't got to do the 3-camera setup like we're doing. You could do 1 camera and just do it really, 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 really well. I don't know if you want to add anything to this, Zach, because I think this is so important, but I don't really see enough people embracing it. In my opinion, I want to say everybody doing it, but what do you think?
No, I think a testament to you as a creator is that you're very, very, very consistent. And I think there's self-awareness needed when starting a YouTube channel as to like how much of that consistency do you have built in you? How much of that do you need to discipline into your lifestyle to stay up on your upload schedule. So if you're making that investment into some cameras, maybe you already have some cameras laying around and the initial investment isn't as much. But if you are making that investment, you don't really want to spend a bunch of money and then you don't really use that system. I know for myself, I don't necessarily at this stage of my life have that innate consistency. I don't have that factor yet. And I also realize I love supporting someone else in their vision. And so when I was doing my freelance thing, I wasn't loving it a ton. Once I started working for Ruslan, I love it every day because I get to come in and I know that he's the one that's staying consistent. So the days that I think, oh, we don't really have a stream today, there's nothing going on in the news, Ruslan's like, well, we got to do a video today. I'm like, all right, well, let's find something to do. But I still create, and I'm creating every day, and we're working on that stuff. But I do know that from a team member viewpoint, where I'm not the one that has to be consistent every single day, that it is like another level of drive. There is another level of just being like, there's no such thing as burnout. Like you do not get to burnout. You don't get to do seasons on YouTube. You don't get your channel season 1 and then 6 months off your channel season 2. You're not going to be successful that way. And so I think there's a little bit of that self-awareness that is very, very much needed when hopping into this space. And you just got to be real with yourself. You got to be real that it's going to be painful sometimes. It's not going to be like, I know for me, I got this. Just know it's going to be hard sometimes. It's going to be difficult, but that level of commitment and consistency is going to be like next level.
Yeah, and it's the commitment for me is out of desperation. Just so we're clear, like I couldn't go do any more shows when COVID happened, so this was it. Like,
and
there's nothing else.
You're also a refugee from a communist country, so. I'm joking, but I always think that there's that that built-in
psychotic.
Like, I'm still trying to survive. I'm still trying to make it out, and I'm like, Ruslan, we're good. You're like, we've got to build a second set, and I'm like, all right. So no, but I think that there's something there. It's just personality-wise, I know for sure that I think almost. Do you feel like you convince yourself that you still gotta survive? Like nowadays, like how do you? Pandemic hit, you had to survive. How do you stay consistent now? Like, what is that driving factor to not even go a day without streaming?
I think I just call it my non-negotiables. If I have certain non-negotiables, I'm going to do those regardless, and that's just how I look at it. I don't think it's that deep. I think it's just like this is what we do. We make a video 5 days a week, or something comes out, and if they could all be great and we can love them, then better, but they're not all going to be great. I know that. So maybe there's some of that. I don't know. I
think it goes back to also treating it as a business.
Yeah.
Where maybe, and I really like this about you, is that you have the perfect amount of creative side and the perfect amount of entrepreneur, where you can keep the show moving. Like you just invested in this entire set,
right?
Because you saw the creative vision, but you're also like, this has to get done today.
Yep.
We are streaming today. We got to wire all the cables, and I'm like, I don't even know how we're going to get all this done, but we got to get it done. So I think it's treating it as a business where the shop is open Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, 9 to 5, right. And people can come in, they can enjoy the content, but if you're not putting anything out, if you're closing the shop, then it's not going to stay open long term.
Yeah. I think you're totally spot on. Make stuff consistently, treat it as if it's anything else. And the compounding effect will happen if you're deliberate. This is what I mean. If you go to the gym 5 days a week and you do the compound lifts and you track your macros, and you actually are accurately tracking your macros, the results will come. It may take 6 months. It may take a year. It may take 2 years. The results will come. If you're not being deliberate and you're cheating and you could be hitting 135 on the bench, but you got the baby 25s on, right? Because you don't want to extrain yourself.
You're doing paleo, but you're making paleo brownies.
Yeah, shout out to all the people that are like, I'm doing Whole30, but then you're making like paleo pancakes and paleo brownies. L for you. Massive, massive L for you. Let me find I got to hit them with the...
You guys think I'm stupid. I'm not stupid, guys. I know this.
L for you. If you're going to do something, you got to do it. You got to do it. And I think the more we could approach these sorts of things in the content space, and like you said, have that combination of this is a business, this is a commitment, and I have to be a creative. And I think all a creative is just someone that's curious. I think that's all it is. Like, you just got to remain curious about stuff. I'm constantly curious. We got all these different effects, and we got all these different things that I'm working on with these here, I'll show you guys some of the new stuff since we're here. We got the camera cuts, right? And we got the, why is that not working? Okay, well, it's not. It doesn't.
And we're working through technical
And
difficulties.
we're working through technical difficulties, but we're working through it. That's the point. And so, as I'm developing this, I'm remaining curious on the creative side, and I'm being diligent on just the output side. And the more you can commit yourself to publishing, that is where you're going to win. And I think YouTube has opened it up now to where anyone can live stream if you have 0 subscribers. If you can't, and I'm wrong, I don't think I am, but if I am, you can still use the same exact format by not doing anything where you got to record into a memory card and then drop it into Final Cut. You could do the same exact format and just record onto your hard drive and then upload that. You could do that. You don't need to actually be live. If you're not ready to be live, it's okay. Being live just gives you the option and the possibility of hitting the algorithm. And that just, again, tips the scale in your favor. But there's nothing wrong with doing 100 videos of you talking into a camera and committing to publishing them. If you do that, it'll go eventually, if you're deliberate. That's a big if, because some of you guys aren't deliberate. You just keep making the same stuff, and you make 2-hour streams about random stuff, and you don't really got the personality or the charisma to carry a 2-hour stream. If you're deliberate and you're self-aware, and if you're consistently looking back at the analytics, and if there is a niche that is thriving and growing and not dying, right? That would be the things I would look at. If you just, I don't know, I'm going to go live as a vlog and walk down the street and go live. Like, that's probably not going to work in today's climate, right? Vlogging is kind of dead. But if you're deliberate and you're finding a niche and a format that works, and you're leaning into your expertise, and that's really why we put together the free training, the Master YouTube Live training, that I want to make sure everybody, that's the wrong one. Goodness gracious. The Master Your Niche. The link is in the description. Sign up for that. Take that free training, and that'll help you get a grasp of what it is that you should be talking about, so you're not out here just talking out your butt saying random stuff, okay? So anyway, those are my thoughts on this. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you are subscribed. We're about to crack 2,000 subscribers here on this channel, so that's super exciting, and we'll keep you updated and keep consistently leaning into these sorts of conversations.
Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan. Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan. Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan.
One of the best growing emerging niches on the YouTube is I bombed that. Let's try this again.
Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan.
One of the fastest growing niches on YouTube is voice only. Let me do that one more time, Zach. You're killing me. The other day, when I made my video about Alan Parr, one of the fastest growing niches on YouTube is voice only channels, where you are using your voice, editing video together, and making something that people want to talk about. Voice only channels, that's what we're talking about on this channel.
Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan.
All right, so there's been a lot of controversy with Jake Tran, huge YouTuber. If you didn't know who he was, he has one of the biggest, what I would call as a voice-only channel. He's seldom on camera. At the very end, you see him on camera, and it's hilarious because he's gotten called out by CoffeeZilla. They're talking about things like, hey, you're using ads of the same type of channel, of the same type of content that you're exposing, right? You're exposing crypto scams, you're exposing all this evil stuff going on, and your ads are almost exactly the same. So Jake Tran has been blowing up with his YouTube channel, but it's come with a huge amount of backlash in terms of the brand deals. But the brand deals should point to something you consider, which is, hey, there is a lot of revenue in building a channel. Maybe you're not comfortable enough to be on camera. Maybe you don't want to live stream, even though this is called Master YouTube Live. Here is an alternative approach on how you can make videos that have nothing to do with your personality and have a utility and a practical need of different topics. So we're going to look specifically at Jake Tran's, but then I'm going to show you guys 2 other channels that are blowing up right now across multiple niches. So let's pull up Jake Tran first, Zach, so that we kind of get an idea of what he does. And this is Jake Tran's channel. And so money, power, war, crime. His little outgoing thing is called Stay Dangerous. And he recently got called out by CoffeeZilla, as I said earlier. The documentaries are dope, but they're not crazy dope, meaning that it's a lot of B-roll of movies. He's not shooting everything natively. You could technically do this with like stock footage, like from ArtGrid or from what's the other one? What do we use? Video?
Storyblocks or ArtGrid.
Storyblocks or ArtGrid.
Yep.
And so let's just look at a little bit of this. And so they got like pretty cool maps.
The general gets out of his car to open
Turn
the
it down a little
garage
bit.
door. He takes a few
Yeah, let's just skim through it. I just want to give you guys an idea of what he does. Okay, now when they start doing B-roll, they show articles, they highlight. But when they do B-roll, it's oftentimes B-roll from movies as fair use, or B-rolls from other documentaries as fair use, right? And he does these really, really deep, elaborate documentaries, and then he'll have these like hilarious ads in there that that oftentimes feel like they're highlighting the very same types of things he's exposing, which is beyond hilarious. But the dude does a great job, and this does not require that much editing, okay? Meaning that these types of videos are made primarily with a script. This is somebody, if you're a copywriter, meaning you like to write, maybe you're an author, you can write out a script, read the script, and then add B-roll as you go. Maybe you go back and you punch in some parts. So you're leaning into audio-only channels. Okay, now, this is Jake Tran. This is, as far as I know, is one of the bigger channels. I don't know if you know of any other audio-only channels, Zach.
No, I'm not super hip to my audio-only game, but I know Jake Tran for sure. And I think before he was ever on camera at the end of his videos, he was definitely voice-only. And he's even working in new voice actors into his content.
Yeah, and people and he's getting some pushback for that too. So Jake Tran, voice only. He's not on camera except at the very end. Now, I want to highlight 2 other channels, and I'm highlighting these channels not because they're endorsements, but to give you context of how this can work across the board. So let's go to the next channel, Zach. This is a channel called How Money Works. It's 500,000 subscribers. When I signed up for this channel, they had maybe 100,000, maybe 150,000. This is only a couple months ago. This channel is growing extremely fast, and they do things from the perspective of someone that's a Wall Street broker, he's an investment banker, not on Wall Street. He's in San Francisco. And this guy just breaks down how money works. He kind of takes a slant of more, I would say, kind of like anti-work, socialism, kind of. But he makes great videos. Same idea. He's using other pieces of content. He's repurposing them. He's writing really thoughtful scripts. And these scripts are just very well executed. He uses B-roll. I don't know if he uses movies as much, like Jake Tran does. But he does a good job with this stuff. So this is called How Money Works. Really good channel. And again, this is someone that is an expert in a specific area or really interested in a specific area. And they have a little bit of resource to put toward. And their strength is going to be in writing and coming up with copy. So he's using B-roll of movies too. And they're going to lean into using some of the resource they have, right? And paying an editor, or at the very least paying a voice actor, right? Now, I think Jake Tran was his own voice actor. I believe this gentleman is his own voice actor. But I'm going to give you guys one that this person is not using their own voice. They literally hire a voice actor. This is a channel in the Christian niche that is called Reformed Wiki 2.0. They're growing extremely fast. They have 226,000 subscribers. So shout out to them. And they do like exposed style videos of pastors. And let's look at a little bit of of theirs. And their whole spiel, hold on, pause that real quick. Their whole spiel at the very top is they're trying to get more subscribers than Copeland Ministries. Kenneth Copeland, that's amazing. I was joking with Zach that we should do this with Stephen Furtick, but I don't know if, because Stephen Furtick has like 2 million subscribers and we should do the same thing. I think we should. I think it'd be hilarious. But let's watch some of their videos real quick to give you guys this again. This is another idea. Let's not watch it at double speed. Oh, it's a normal speed. Okay, play it.
Version of the gospel that is no gospel. The job of a Christian pastor is to teach the Bible, which teaches the gospel of Jesus Christ. But many popular pastors teach a distorted version of the gospel that is no gospel at all, while other pastors teach the true, full gospel. Let's compare what 6 popular Christians teach about the gospel. We have some unique insights into each of these teachers, so make sure you stick around until the end. In a sermon titled, "The Power of the Blood," Joel Osteen presents the gospel, the good news of Jesus Christ.
I want to talk to you today about the power of the blood. In the Old Testament,
All right, so
when
pause
Jesus
it.
hung on the
So he's using clips. Sometimes he's using B-roll. The editing is fire.
Yeah, the editing is nuts. You can tell he has more of that. He's using sound effects. He's using graphic overlays to push that story along.
Yeah, he does a fantastic job. And he's hired a voice actor. This is not his voice because I think he's came up at the end of one of the videos before and he does not sound this cool. He just sounds like a regular guy from like Ohio or something, right? Shout out to everybody from Ohio.
Does he use different actors?
I don't think so. I think it's the same guy.
Okay.
I think let's play another one and see what it is. Is it the same guy or not? I think it's the same guy. So yeah, I think it's the okay.
Whether you call her Sasha Fear.
Beyonce
okay, he blocked it
released
out.
her new album.
Yeah, same
Remedy.
one. Yeah. So he blurred out Beyonce. Shout out to him. I love that graphic. I think we should do that with
That's it, huh?
with Furtick, man. I think that'd be fun. He has the
Truth will win.
Yes, man. This is so good. That is so good. Anyway, so here is an idea of someone that definitely has some resource to, at the very least, hire a voice actor. Maybe they're editing this stuff. Maybe they're not. I really don't know. I've never seen them on camera a day in my life. I think I've heard their voice once. Totally different approach of what we preach here on Master YouTube Live, which is get your butt on camera, lean into the live stream, right? This is way more calculated, way more deliberate. There's a written format, very calculated with the words, and there's pacing with the editing, the B-roll, the sound effects. They do a really good job. Zach, what do you have, on this like voice-only type of channels? What are your thoughts on this?
I think it's really powerful for someone that understands storytelling and they understand conflict and tension within storytelling. I think the downside is if you're not a great writer, if you're not a great storyteller, then writing a script and spending a week writing a script probably isn't the best move for you. That's just my gut reaction. And to your point about the live streaming, just like sitting down and going, is that if you're not a great storyteller, you can develop that skill, but at least you're getting it done. This is less times at bat with the videos. So let's say you're getting one a week if you're working a full-time job and maybe you're not doing YouTube full-time right away. And then the overhead costs, like if you got kind of a nasally voice, if you maybe aren't great at editing and you got to hire that stuff out, that's going to be a little bit more, it's going to cost a little bit more upfront, but you're not investing in live stream equipment. You're not investing in any of that other stuff. So you just got to be able to make videos that are going to do well quicker.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, so let's just what do you think? $500 a video to get an editor that good, and to get a voiceover actor you could find on Fiverr for probably $100 to read a 10-minute script. Yeah, is that fair? $100. You think it's $400 to edit each video?
Yeah, and his strong suit might be editing, and maybe that's why he goes a little bit harder on the edits. But yeah, I would say probably $400.
Yeah. So let's just say $500 a video. Hey, if you got 12 grand, what does that come out to? Let's just say 2 videos a week. 2 videos a month. It's $1,000 a month. So $12,000 a year, right? And man, the amount of equipment we buy, we probably spend more than that a year on equipment and software and subscriptions, right? So again, multiple ways to do it. Multiple ways. It doesn't have to be done one way. I prefer this way because I think it, to Zach's point, it gives you more shots at bat going live. But if you're a great writer, if you understand tension, or if you're a writer and an editor, and maybe you have a decent voice, or maybe you outsource the voice, I think you can lean into this type of format, and it can get you a bigger ROI if you aren't comfortable being on camera. I don't recommend it because I think you should just, put your face out there. But I think this is a great business model.
Well, and another interesting example actually would be Young Don's animation channel. So he did strictly animation. He's a fantastic animator, illustrator, and then he also was a great storyteller, had a funny voice, or like just like he knew how to get into character, and he did an animation channel that's 3 million subscribers. And now he does live streaming on a second channel. So he actually used that skill of storytelling and telling funny stories and being very interesting with really just his voice and his drawing ability. And obviously animation's a whole nother world than just this, but it's the same storytelling sort of thing. And then he got on to the live streaming because he also knew that, hey, the animation's cool, but it still takes me, what does it take him? I mean, animation's crazy, 3 months to make one video, but with this type of editing, you're doing one video per week.
Yeah, and in a middle ground between this format and what I do is What Do You Memes channel. John McCrae has a channel where he is writing his video word for word, and he does a couple a week. I think he does 2 a week, something like that, right? And so he's able to write his scripts, edit the video himself. He writes it, he edits it. He's not going off the cuff. He's not just, it's not a live streaming format like my channel, Young Don's is, but it allows him to just create, 2 to 3 videos. So it's a little bit higher output than this. There's still some editing, but it is word for word. So there's, again, multiple ways to do this. You don't have to do it just one way. And I wanted to highlight that for you guys, just to give you guys some different ideas of how you can make YouTube content today without it like, oh, you could only do a YouTube Live. I think you should do YouTube Live. That's my recommendation and prescription. If you're an expert in something, if you are a halfway decent communicator, if you're halfway decent looking, you can lean into this live format. And I think it's the best and the most rewarding in terms of the algorithm as well, with frequency publishing and the live streaming being pushed up. I recommend it. Any final thoughts on this, Zach?
No, I think you're super right on all those points, and I think if you're not a fan of being on camera, then this voice only channel thing is like kind of your golden platter.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, hey guys, if you're here live, this stream is going to get redirected to something special. We are going to do a bonus module for our master. First of all, let me do the outro. But the bonus module for the Master YouTube Live course, we're about to do one right now. So if you're here, stick around. This is going to be made private immediately, and then it'll get added onto. We're going to show you guys how we edit our intros. Okay, so if you're here, stick around. And we're going to redirect. And by the way, guys, if you want to figure out what your channel should be about, whether you go, hey, voice only, whether you hire an actor, whether you do editing, whatever, check out our free training over in the link in the description to discover your YouTube niche. That is available for free. I think you'll find a lot of value from that. I will see you guys over there, all right? Make sure you like and subscribe as we are about to crack 2,000 subscribers on this channel. All right, love you guys. Peace.